So this is what it's come to. No rims. What a world we're living in, guys. Beautiful basketball court. Beautiful new backboards. And no rims. Crazy. Crazy, crazy time we're living in, guys. What's up, guys? It's Tony from Streetball Strategies, where we use strategy to build your streetball legacy. Today we're talking about the use and the need of having a basketball headquarters inside your home. So what am I talking about when I say a basketball headquarters? Well, it's simple. Think about how coaches have an office. They have an office space. They at least have a desk. Think about how professional players, they have an office. They have a desk where they study film and they study their playbook, and coaches come up with strategies for games. That's what I'm talking about when I mean having a headquarters for your own basketball resources at your home. You want to have a centralized, organized space where you have all your basketball resources so that you have access to them whenever you want. When I was thinking about the concept for this video, I kept relating it back to how we value the importance of money, of currency. For most of us, money is very important. We put a very high value on having money. And so most of us keep it organized in a wallet. We keep our money in there, we keep our cards in there, we keep our ID in there, we keep it in a centralized location where it's organized and we have access to it. And though we're not professional coaches or players, though we're not getting paid to play basketball, we should still have that value when it comes to the resources we have at home for basketball. We should still place value and importance on how we have access to those basketball resources in our home. Plus, we want to be streetball legends, right? We take this seriously, and because we take it seriously, because it has value to us, we should treat it as if it is a job. And if we're treating it like a job, we need a workspace in order to get the job done. The reason having a basketball office, a basketball headquarters is important is because we're not casual players, right? And we're also not talented players. Casual players would never think about having a basketball headquarters or a basketball office because they don't take the game that seriously. They're not trying to build a legacy. They're just out to play ball and have a good time. Talented players probably don't have a basketball headquarters or a basketball office either because they can rely on their talent. Why should they have to study basketball at home when they can just show up to the court and depend on their talent to carry them through? But for us, we're somewhere in the middle, right? And I always harp on the idea that we need to outwork those talented players in order to keep up with them. We need to put in the work to become better players so that we are not casual basketball players. And I firmly believe in the idea that legends and winners put in the work that casual players and losers won't put in. We do work that they won't. We do work that they think is crazy, that they think is a crazy waste of time. We do things they won't do because we need every advantage we can get. And if it means having a basketball office, a basketball headquarters at home, then that's what we have to do. Now let's talk about how you use and organize that headquarter office space. When I was a young player and I was just starting out myself, it was kind of just natural for me to gather all of my basketball resources at home and organize them in a central location. And it wasn't because I was trying to do that. It wasn't because I had the intent of having a basketball headquarter office space at home. It was just because of efficiency, having easy access to whatever resource I wanted as easily and organized as possible. And back in the day, before everything was digital, I used my living room, and in my living room there was the couch, and then on the side of the couch there was an end table on the end table was a pile of notebooks that I used to jot down all of my notes, all of my strategies, all of my goals, things I wanted to accomplish. It was just a stack of notebooks that I kept at the side of the couch that I used as a resource for everything I wanted to write down that was related to basketball. And then sitting on a shelf next to the TV was a stack of VHS tapes that had game film on them. It had NBA game film, it had my game film. It was a stack of all of the visual resources I used to visually study the game when I was at home. And then I had a bookshelf behind me that was full of basketball books that I could read and study. But if I were a young player today just starting out my legacy, I would think to myself, well, I'll just use my phone for everything. You know, I can put all my notes on my phone, I can put all my books on my phone, I can put all of my game film on my phone, and then it will be with me all the time, and I can just use that as my mobile headquarters for all of my basketball resources. And how efficient is that? How better can that be than to have all of your resources in one digital space? And I'm sure that's the attitude of a lot of ball players nowadays, which is like, I have my phone, I can put everything on my phone, it can be my one central hub for all of my basketball resources, and that's what I'll use. But I will encourage you to not have that be your mentality, okay? Your phone is a great portable resource that you can take with you wherever you go that contains most, if not all, of your basketball resources. But there's a couple problems with keeping everything on your phone and only using your phone. One thing is going back to the idea of money and how we value money and how it's important and how we can relate that to our basketball headquarters, which is that most young people don't have cash anymore. They don't use cash. They use all cards, or they use all money apps on their phones in order to do all of their transactions, and thus they don't have any cash. If you don't have cash, then kind of in your mind, money, your currency, becomes invisible. You don't see it, it's not there. And since it's kind of invisible, it's not tangible, when you spend it, when you use a credit card, when you run up credit card debt, you don't really have the tangible experience of, oh, I'm running out of money, or oh, I'm running up credit card debt, because there's no tangible way to keep track of it. But if you have cash and all you do is deal in cash, and you're paying bills and you're spending money, and you see the cash in your wallet getting smaller and smaller and smaller, as that amount dwindles and you physically, tangibly see that it's getting smaller and smaller, then you have the feeling that, okay, maybe I should stop spending money, or maybe I should be more conservative with the way I'm spending money because I can tangibly, visibly see that it's running out. It's the same idea, the same principle of having tangible, physical basketball resources that lie in your space that you use for your basketball headquarters. So if all you ever use is your phone, and you have no notebooks, and you have no actual books, and you have no designated space in your home that you use for studying, you just sort of lay on your couch or lay on your bed and stare at your phone and use your phone for your basketball headquarters, for all of your basketball resources, then it kind of becomes invisible. You kind of lose a tangibility of having actual notebooks, of having actual books to read. And there's a certain kind of learning that happens when you can tangibly, physically touch things. Think about the differences between writing out your basketball notes compared to typing them on a computer or a laptop, compared to using the touchscreen on your phone to just tap in your basketball notes. That's three different kinds of interaction that you're having when you're entering in your basketball notes, when you're actually building your mental basketball legacy. The easiest thing to do would be to use the touchscreen on your phone, enter in your basketball notes for the day or that session, then have those notes go up into the cloud, and then they're available everywhere at any time. The opposite end of that is to have a pen, write in a notebook, take actual physical notes, and have them reside in your home at your designated basketball headquarters so that you can come back to them later and study them. And yes, writing out notes, using a pen, using a notebook, writing out your notes, keeping track of your notes is the slowest, most sort of work-intensive way to go about it. But as I've covered in other videos, that's what makes you remember things. That's what makes those ideas stick to you. The fact that you took the time and the effort to write them out so that now they're tangible, right? The more difficult something is, the more stress, the more work you experience when you're doing those things, the better you will then remember them. Yes, you can keep your notes on your phone and you can carry it with you wherever you go, whenever, at any time, but have actual physical, tangible notebooks around that you can write out your notes. You can keep track of your notes. You can keep them centralized in your basketball headquarters. You learn best that way. You will not regret taking the time to do that. Also, because you have physical basketball resources that reside in your basketball headquarters, that means you are constantly seeing them. You're having visual reminders of them all the time. Notebooks and books that are physical, that are tangible, that are there, that you can visually see, that visually remind you that, hey, you could be doing basketball work right now. Instead of keeping everything on your phone, when you use your phone, it's easy to become distracted. You could be studying basketball on your phone, but then how easy is it to switch apps and start going through social media or watching YouTube about things that have nothing to do with basketball? It's very easy to become distracted when you're only using your phone to study basketball. And that's why I encourage you to have physical, tangible basketball resources in your designated basketball headquarters area in your home. And when you're constantly seeing them, you're also constantly reminded that there's basketball work that can be getting done. We're all stuck at home right now. There's no reason not to organize and have that space where you can do all of your non-physical basketball activities and studying while you're stuck at home. Again, we're not casual players and we're not talented players, and thus we should be doing things that they would never consider doing. We should have resources that they would never consider having, and we should organize them and use them in a way that gives us advantages over them. How you specifically use your basketball HQ is completely up to you. It's completely dependent on you and what your goals are. The point is that you have it, that it's there, and that you consistently use it. So I hope that this video helps you guys and that you guys do take this seriously in terms of organizing all of your basketball resources. It will prove to be very valuable in the long run, and you will be thankful that you have an organized space where you can do all of your non-physical basketball work at home. And if you guys like that idea, please like this video, please subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you're notified of all of my future videos, because as this quarantine goes on, I'm going to keep pumping out videos that have to do with how you can use your quarantine time to the best of your advantage to become a better basketball player and come back on the court and compete as a better basketball player than you were when you left it. So thank you guys again, and I will see you next week.
In the wild, there is no healthcare. In the wild, healthcare is, ow, I hurt my leg. I can't run. A lion eats me, and I'm dead. Well, not dead. I'm the lion. You're dead.